Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Evidence, the podcast where we dive deep into true crime cases, uncovering the facts and exploring the unanswered questions that keep us coming back for more. I'm your host, Marv, and I want to thank you for joining me today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can find links to my PayPal and Cash App in the description. Now, let's get into today's topic.
Breaking all the patterns, facts and theories, clues and controversy. Join the journey, uncovering the mystery. This is Beyond the Evidence, where justice prevails, with Marv leading the way. Truth never fails. Now get ready for this live stream. Super chat, highlight your message. Don't fall victim to the irrelevance. Hit that like, share, subscribe to Marv's Beyond the Evidence.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. How is everyone doing? I can say that I think I am almost healthy. This super flu that's going around, all of these viruses hit this family hard. And for the past 3 weeks, I have been very sick. So I have been just trying to get myself healthy. So with that being said, I still have a very bad cough. So if I mute myself and turn my camera off and you don't hear anything for a couple seconds, even a minute, just know that I am having a coughing fit. I'm glad to be back. Thank you all for joining me. Today we are talking about 4-year-old Johnathan Boley, who is missing from Alabama. And the reason I said 4 years old is because I just got information that there is a lot of false information going on. Johnathan will turn 5 in April. So even though it says 5-year-old Johnathan Boley disappears, he is actually technically 4 years old. So let's get into this and talk about Johnathan. So on the morning of December 31st, 2025, in rural Walker County, Alabama, a 4-year-old boy vanished. His name is Johnathan Everett Boley. What followed was not just a search, but a case filled with unanswered questions. Missing time, a missing dog, and a discovery so dangerous that it forced authorities to stop looking for a child, to make sure no one else got hurt. Today we're going to walk through this case slowly, carefully, and factually. Because when a child disappears, the truth deserves time. Hello, Gibble. How are you? Thank you so much. So, as I said, Johnathan is 4 years old. He's described as a white male with blonde or strawberry blonde hair and blue eyes. Now, I just heard a report over on TikTok about this, that his aunt actually says that he has brown eyes. I'm going to have to get clarification and verify if it's blue eyes or brown eyes. Right now, the flyer says blue eyes. So he stands at 4 feet tall and weighing approximately 50 pounds. On the day he went missing, he was wearing a yellow Mickey Mouse shirt, black pants, and Paw Patrol shoes. Immediately, law enforcement classified this as an endangered missing child. This is a designation reserved for cases where authorities believe the child may be at serious risk. Johnathan's parents are separated. His mother, Angel, lives in Florida, and his father, Jameson, lives in Walker County, Alabama. Now, Johnathan was in Alabama on a limited visitation with his father. Okay, and he was expected to return to his mother shortly after the visit. He never did. In fact, she was on her way to Alabama to pick him up on the 1st. Okay. When they say limited visitation with the father, what I have read is that accounts for maybe 5 to 7 days a year. Hey, Aurora, how you doing? So, what do we know about the facts? According to law enforcement, Johnathan was last seen around 11:30 a.m. on December 31st. He was outside near his father's property, close to a fence line. His brother, who is 2 years older than him, was also there. There was also a black Labrador retriever running around with the kids. Now, this dog matters, and we'll come back to that. At some point after 11:30, Johnathan was no longer visible. What happens next exists inside a narrow but critical window of time. So I've heard different reports on this. Between 11:30 a.m. and approximately 12:28 p.m., Johnathan disappeared. That's the window. At around 12:28 p.m., the Walker County Sheriff's Office received the call reporting Johnathan missing. Now, in other reports that I have listened to, it said it took 2 hours before the missing person report was filed. But the information I received is that by 12:28 p.m., Johnathan was reported missing. What happened during that hour has not been publicly detailed. What we do know is that the exact moment Johnathan was last physically seen by an adult, we don't know whether anyone else entered or exited the property, whether any vehicles were present, or whether Johnathan was ever seen again after 11:30 a.m. Now, this is not an accusation. It is an absence of information. So law enforcement responded immediately. They had deputies, canine units, and search teams flooding the area. The Alabama Law Enforcement Agency issued an emergency missing child alert, broadcasting Johnathan's description statewide. We know that helicopters took to the sky. Drones equipped with thermal imaging scanned the ground, even through the night. But there was a problem. The drones detected no heat signatures, no signal of a small child exposed to the elements, no trail, no movement. Search teams found no footprints, no clothing, and no confirmed scent trail publicly disclosed. But they still kept looking. As deputies attempted to execute a search warrant at the father's home, something unexpected happened. They found multiple improvised explosive devices, pipe bombs. And I have a picture here of one of those pipe bombs. Now, these were found in the house and outside the house. Some appear to have already been detonated. The search stopped immediately, not because Johnathan didn't matter, but because searching had suddenly become dangerous. They had to call in the FBI bomb squad, and all civilian searchers were ordered to stop. Now, this took precious time. Resources in a missing child case are extremely important. And the time that they had to stop that was lost to safety concerns is also precious. As law enforcement worked to secure the property, I have one more picture. As law enforcement worked to secure the property, neighbors began telling disturbing stories. They said they had heard explosions for weeks, not once, not twice, but for weeks. One neighbor reported hearing a loud explosion around 4 a.m. the morning before Johnathan disappeared. Now, the problem is the neighbors said that they didn't know where these explosions were coming from, and nobody reported them. Law enforcement has been clear they have not confirmed these explosions are connected to Jonathan's disappearance, but they are confirmed to have happened, and they matter because they explain why federal authorities were involved and why the search was delayed. On January 1st, 2026, Jameson Kyle Boley was arrested. The charges are related only to the explosive devices. Yes, explosions, Gibbo. Because you say explosions? Yes. So basically, what they are figuring is that he was detonating these pipe bombs weeks before the children got there, even the morning before Johnathan went missing. That's very concerning to me. Law enforcement has explicitly stated he has not been charged in connection with Jonathan's disappearance. The explosive charges are separate, and the investigation into Jonathan's remains active and ongoing. This distinction is critical, and we respect it. Now, I've got a picture of the dog on the screen here with Johnathan. The black Labrador retriever that was reportedly with Johnathan is also missing. Law enforcement has said finding the dog could help us find Johnathan. Now, this is a red flag to me coming up here. Okay. A neighbor stated that he has a trail camera. And that dog was seen on the trail camera every single day, but was not seen after December 26th, days before Johnathan vanished. So why is it that this dog is seen on this trail camera every single day, but after December 26th, he disappears? He vanishes from the camera. It doesn't make sense. There's no public explanation that's been provided. We know that dogs typically return home when something like this happens, especially if they're following a child. Most cases, the dog would be barking in the woods. And this one hasn't. They haven't found or heard anything from this dog. And that has made investigators pause, along with the true crime community. So once the explosives were secured, the search resumed. More than 500 acres were searched yesterday. Dive teams checked ponds. Nothing. No sign of Johnathan. No sign of the dog. At this point, investigators had to consider a difficult question. Was the place where Johnathan was last seen truly the place he disappeared? Now, you have to remember, the information we're getting is that the brother went and told the dad that Johnathan had went across the fence line into the woods and the dog followed him. If that happened, why hasn't this dog been seen or heard in the woods? So these are not accusations, they're questions. The kind every investigator asks. So some other questions that we could have is, what happened during the 1 hour gap? Was the father in the woods looking for him? Why did it take an hour to report him missing? What was happening during that time? Did the brother actually see Johnathan and the dog go into the woods? Or is this a story that the dad has told police? Why is the dog missing too? Why did trail cameras stop capturing the dog days earlier? Why has no physical evidence been found? Were all areas immediately accessible? Was the fence line the true last seen location? Did anyone else have access to the property? Were there custody-related stressors? And what digital evidence is being examined? Asking questions is not blaming somebody. It's responsibility. It's asking for accountability. So, we are looking for Johnathan Boley out of Alabama. There are some pretty big red flags in the father's story. And I'm hearing reports, I haven't verified this, but I am hearing reports that there were issues between the mother and the father, and that a protective order was requested in 2021, and that the father had threatened to unalive the mother and the children. Now, if that's the case, why is only one child missing? We don't know. We don't know the answers to those questions. Let's see what Chad is saying here. Let's see here. Looks like y'all are chatting together. Thank you so much, Gibbo, for the super sticker. I appreciate it, especially on my first day back. So we need to get this out to everybody that we can. This child, I don't have a good feeling about this with the flags. We've seen a lot of cases in the past few years, especially. These cases keep coming up, and this type of case keeps returning. And they usually do not have good results. What is the matter with these parents who always want to take their kids' lives? Exactly. I have been beating my head against the wall trying to figure it out. And like I just said, it happens so frequently. So frequently. So I have some other pictures here that I'm going to share. This is a picture of the search that has been taking place. This is a picture of the area showing Highway I-95. Marigold Road. So this apparently is one of these houses is where they lived. And I'm assuming this part of the woods or this part of the woods is, well, this is the church. So depending where this fence line is, depends on where this little boy supposedly went into. Now, as you can see on here, we do have some ponds, and that's why they're searching those. But as I said, you would think that this dog would be running around or stay close to the child enough to be barking and getting attention from somebody, especially if all these individuals are walking around this area. Here we have different pictures of Johnathan. We have another picture of Johnathan here. And as you can tell between the two pictures here, he has very long hair. Very long hair. And it's pulled back a lot of the time. But I want you all to see the difference between the two pictures. This is important because the dog has a big white spot on its chest. That's what we're looking for. Right here. Police are saying if we can find this dog, we will find the child. Just another picture of a precious little boy that is missing. So on the actual Alabama Law Enforcement Agency flyer, it shows them missing, shows the case number, and in the comments it says the Walker County Sheriff's Office is asking for the public's assistance in locating Johnathan Everett Boley. Johnathan Boley is a 4-year-old white male with blonde hair and blue eyes and is believed to be in danger. He was last seen on December 31st, 2025 at approximately 11:30 a.m. in the 7,000 block of Highway 195 in Jasper. Johnathan was last seen wearing a yellow Mickey Mouse shirt, black pants, and Paw Patrol shoes. If anyone has information regarding the whereabouts of Johnathan, please contact the Walker County Sheriff's Office. And 1 second here. Because I have a banner with this information. There we go. So if anybody has seen Johnathan or the dog, please contact the Walker County Sheriff's Office at 205-384-7218 or call 911. And then it just provides the picture on there. So what does everybody else think that's in the chat that's chatting? Are there some major red flags in this case, as I believe? As I said, these are not accusations. It's just facts. It's questions that we have to ask. Because the information that was being given to law enforcement does not make sense. Especially since that evening they were out with the drones that had the floor on it and no heat signatures were seen. If you have a little boy that's lost in the woods with his dog, you're going to see those heat signatures. And why is it that the dog was not seen on the trail camera after the 26th? My question, one of my big questions is, when did the children arrive at their father's house? To be fair, we don't know if anything like that happened, though. Yeah, we don't. Little boy could have just walked off. But through our experience in the true crime world, we know that there's some major red flags. And we've got to ask those big questions. And hopefully, Johnathan will be found shortly. That is my prayer, that he's brought home, he's reunited with his mother, his father, and his brother. So please share this information out. I will put this flyer on the community page so that everybody has access to it. I will also put it on my Facebook page and the Beyond the Evidence Facebook group to get it out there. That could be change in the dog's routine because the kids arrived, maybe. That absolutely could be. There could be logical answers as to why this all happened. I don't think they'll the dog would leave the little boy. I know in my research it says a lot of times the dogs return home, but not when there's a child involved and they have followed that child. They tend to stay with the child or not very far from the child trying to get help. So please share this out to everyone that you can. I'm also going to put it in this flyer in the Beyond the Evidence Missing Person Facebook group that I have created. Thank you for joining me today, everyone. I appreciate it. Get this information out on Johnathan. Say some prayers, please, that this little boy is found safe and sound, him and his dog, and that this little boy can be reunited with his family. That's all for today, but I will be back tomorrow, or what's tomorrow? Today's Friday. I'll be back Saturday or Sunday with an update on the Elijah Vu case. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.